Well, a very big welcome to you all. Welcome back to our Coaching Cafe for today. And whether you're listening to this live or you're streaming on one of our podcasts, it's great to have you with us. Today, we are talking about what not to do during our coaching conversations. And it's Natalie Ashdown here with you from Open Door Coaching. And I'm joined by the fabulous Paula Jones-Hunt. Thanks for joining us, Paula, to share all your experience as well.
Happy to be here.
So before we begin, I'd just like to acknowledge your traditional owners, the custodians on the lands on which we're all meeting today. We've just discovered people dialing in from Bali, WA, all around Australia as well. And we pay our respects to their continuing connection to the land, waters and communities of Australia. We're paying our respects to traditional owners, custodians of the lands, and to their elders past, present and emerging. And I'm always grateful that we can get together in this forum from all of the lands that we're joining from. So today we want to listen to some coaching and we want to remind ourselves of what not to do. Now, I can see who's on the line. There's lots of very experienced coaches on the line. So today will be, for me, a little bit more about thinking about how do we coach managers or people on our teams to do their coaching and to listen out for the things that we want them not to do. And we're going to be listening to some live coaching, actually. Well, it's a bit of a role play, but we're also going to have a laugh. So in the announcement, we said that, listen to a couple of very experienced coaches trying to do bad coaching. So this is myself and Bridget. We had to do a role play to show people what bad coaching looked like and what good coaching looked like. And it was really hard for us to keep it together. So hopefully you'll have a bit of a laugh as we share this with you. What we'd like to do, and Paula's going to monitor the Q&A box for us as we go along, what we would like to do is have you actually interact with us via the Q&A box. So yes, thanks, Guy. It looks like somehow the chat was disabled, but if you want to pop a message into the Q&A box, we're going to keep those. Q&A live, and then we'll be able to see what you're suggesting as we go along. So as you know, if you're one of our regulars to the Coaching Cafe, welcome back. We're all about creating a community, sharing our live experience, having thought-provoking conversations, and of course there will be CCEUs, ICF CCEUs available at the end of the session. And really today is about, yes, checking in on our coaching, but actually having a bit of a laugh together. So hopefully you find what we're doing is quite funny in trying to do bad coaching. So what I'd like to do, so hit that Q&A box for us and we will pick up everything as you go. And hopefully everyone can see the Q&A as we go along as well. So we'll be able to answer. Well, really what we're aiming to do is listen for the bad coaching. So what I'd like to do is give you a demo of the coaching. And what we're hoping is that you'll listen out for the bad coaching that you hear or things that we should not be doing when we're actually coaching. And pretty well, this short demo, which goes for just over 5 minutes, demonstrates all the things that we don't want managers in the workplace to be doing when they're coaching. So as you hear it, please feel free to hit the Q&A box and we'll have an interaction together. All right, here we go. Hopefully this will work.
Important. Yeah, well done. The report also has some recommendations for you as well that I noticed, which I thought was really, these were quite good things. I'm not sure what you thought, but you've got optimism, humour, the bedtime, consistency on the weekend, exercise duration and silencing the mind routine.
Yeah,
did you have a look at that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And what were your thoughts on those things?
Yeah, well, I thought, they all sound really interesting as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I thought for today's conversation we could focus on exercise duration because I think that's probably, I think that's probably the most important thing to focus our attention on. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sounds fine.
Yeah, I think it's really important to make sure that exercise is a really important thing to keep you fit and healthy and active. So I'm wondering what you would like to achieve in relation to exercising. Or what do you think is actually a good thing how much exercise do you think you should be doing?
Well, I mean, I suppose I should be doing some regular exercise, like 3 times a week or something like that. So yeah.
Do you think that's enough?
Well, it's more than I'm doing now. Yeah.
Yeah. 3 times?
Yeah, 3 times
At minimum 3 times.
Okay, yep, minimum 3 times, yeah.
3 minimum. Okay.
It's really hard for us to do.
Okay.
Come on, let's focus it.
All right. So you said that you weren't doing any exercise at the moment. Anything else happening?
Well, I'm really busy with the kids, and they got a lot of things on. So I suppose the biggest thing for me is just finding the time to exercise. It's a bit hard.
Can't they?
Oh,
we lost our video.
I stopped it. Okay, let me just fast forward. There we go.
Important. Yeah, well done. The report also has some recommendations for you as well that I noticed, which I thought was really, these were quite good things. I'm not sure what you thought, but you've got optimism, humour, the bedtime, consistency on the weekend, exercise duration, and silencing the mind routine.
Yeah,
did you have a look at that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And what were your thoughts on those things?
Yeah, well, I thought, they all sound really interesting as well.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, I thought for today's conversation we would focus on exercise duration, because I think that's probably, I think that's probably the most important. You say you're not doing any exercise at the moment, is that right?
Not much, no. Yeah, pretty much nothing.
Yeah, okay. So how come? Oh, why?
Well, it's just that the kids, the kids have got so many things on. And I'm tired. I'm tired at night.
It's no wonder.
Yeah. And I just focus on the kids more than I focus on myself.
Yeah. I really, poor thing. I really think it's about time that I think it's about time that you've kind of got them just doing some things for themselves, because
they are. My littlest one's 3 and the other one's
so she's not even at school.
No. So that 7-year-old, 5-year-old and the 3-year-old. Yeah. So sure, the 7-year-old needs to be more for themselves than the 3-year-old.
Yeah, okay. All right.
All righty, we might leave it there. So we're keen to, if you want to pop a message into the Q&A box we're using this time, let us know what you actually heard. And quite frankly, Paula, I think we heard enough. And it just kind of gets worse, and we're trying to keep it together. But anyone care to jump in, tell us what you actually what you heard. And I can see Nathan says that it feels like a bit of an informal interrogation rather than a two-way conversation. Yeah, that's a really good comment. And some of the things that we heard the coach actually do, and of course Bridget would never do this, but some of the things that we heard the coach do was, as you say there, Nathan, would easily put the employee in a defensive mode. So they're getting defensive. It definitely reduces the effectiveness of the coaching session. We agree. Well done, Dennis. You've picked up suggestions and making comments, so that the coach is inserting themselves, making suggestions and comments. Lynn, very experienced coach yourself, you've picked that up straight away. The coach is leading the conversation, and Matt, you've said directing and giving opinions as well. And yes, Rabia, you've said giving opinions as well. So the coaching conversation kind of starts out okay, but absolutely what you've picked up there is what we've picked up. And so we started to hear the coach start out okay. I thought they were great. Were your thoughts on there? So a bit of open questions, but then straight away the coach picks the topic, and we all know from all of our coach training and our experience that the coach does not pick the topic. That would be an instant fail under the ICF core competencies. The coachee tell the coachee what they think is most important. And Charmaine, that's a beautiful comment as well. The coach didn't hold the space to even allow the coachee to answer questions, and it wasn't comfortable for the client. And so, as you say, Esmeralda, I was role playing this, and I'm like, what is going on here? And we're actually role playing. So, Paula, did you want to add some things as well?
My favourite was when Bridget asked 3 questions in a row that were wanting the same answer, and it was like, well, like with no time in between for the person to spit something out. That was one of my favourite parts. And then I could see her throw in the why
can't you do it? And I'm like, and for me, knowing Bridget and know, like, it's like I've known you for years and years, Paul. It's like I've known Bridget forever. And when she said that, even though we're role playing, it was like, oh, like it actually shocked me. So if you can imagine that I'm working, like role playing with someone who I've known for years, imagine the impact of that question on, in a manager coach, a manager team member relationship. So that's why we see those why questions. The person gets defensive straight away. So yeah, we pitch that up. Stacking questions, like you said, Paula, what would you like to achieve? So what do you think? Or how much exercise do you think you should be doing? So they were rapid stacking questions, gave the coaching no chance to actually answer the questions, for sure.
And I think that's actually one of the things that managers do quite commonly. And also they'll ask a question, and if the person doesn't answer within 5 seconds, they either answer the question themselves or they ask the question, and it doesn't leave any space for the coachee. I think it's one of those really key factors, is that being able to ask a question and leave the space open for that person. And in some respects, we're trained that if we don't say anything, the person will answer the question or move on or move away from you. So being able to leave it and really require that person to make an answer is a new skill for the employee as well.
Yeah, you're right though. And what comes up to me is what Nathan said, not in an interrogation. Like, this is not a fast and fearless, rapid interrogation to get the answers. It's actually leaving that space. We noticed there's quite a few closed questions. So do you think that's enough? But also the tone around that, and inserting that, well, I think you need to do 4 times. So not only is the coachee struggling to come up with the answer, but they're also then the coach is inserting the answers as well. Anything else happening? So I don't mind anything. Is there anything else happening? I don't mind that as a probing question, but I would much prefer what else is happening, or tell me more. But when it came across with the tone, it's kind of like, well, what else is happening? So the tone there is something that the coachee might react to. And we also heard insisting on the goals. So this does happen sometimes in those manager team member coaching relationships, where the manager actually insists on what the goal is, and we want to stay away from that. Obviously, like, we're just trying to put everything that we've heard that's not good into the one session. But we do hear this quite often, actually, particularly with rookie coaches as well. Making suggestions. Aren't they at the age where they can do things for themselves? I think you do. Well, we just lost it at that point. When Bridget started to say that, I couldn't keep it together. So
and I think I think that making suggestion one is what happens in the workplace a lot as well. If the person doesn't come up with something, the manager starts making suggestions, and well, we could do this, or we could do this, or we could do this. In actual fact, it's not we doing anything, it's about what that person needs to do, and they have to take ownership of it. But I think that's one of the things that happens because managers are worried that they won't come up with an idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And Matt mentioned that directing and telling and the opinions expressed from the coach, jumping in quite quickly as well. And that's what we're trying not to do. So yeah, absolutely. Why aren't you doing more exercise? Fidgeting, the coach was quite fidgety as well, as you noticed as well. So we've got another example, and I'll skip over this one because I'll skip over this quickly, but what I'd like you to hear here is how it starts out okay, and then it goes a bit pear-shaped. So we'll just listen a little bit to this one. Tell us in the Q&A, what else are you hearing here as well?
I do love your haircut in this one, Natalie.
That's my COVID haircut. Yes, thank you.
Go on, you can do it. Hi, Bridget. Hi, how are you? Yes, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so I'll skip over this one because this is about, the second attempt was good. So what we did actually is we swapped because we weren't able to actually keep it together, as you can tell. So we swapped. Now, what I'd like you to do is listen to this next coaching session where we swapped. I'm actually doing the coaching. You're going to actually hear some good coaching, but what I'd like you to listen for is it could be much better. Now, I think this is a classic example of what we hear in the workplace when managers, are trying to do coaching. They don't do a bad job, but they could do it better. So if you want to listen out to now what you're actually hearing, and then we can have a quick discussion.
Hi, Bridget, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you.
Great, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Well, the purpose of today's discussion is to focus on your wellbeing report. But just before we begin, I just want you to know this conversation is focused on you, and it is confidential. And I'm just wondering if you wouldn't mind if I take a couple of notes.
Sure. Yep, that's fine.
Fantastic.
Yep.
So I wonder if you've had a chance to read your report.
I did actually. Yeah, I had a bit of a read of it, which was really interesting. It was, it was a big report, but it was, I found it really fascinating actually.
Yeah, it's got a lot of detail in it.
Yeah.
And so what else did you think? Anything else about it?
I thought that I think from memory the 3 areas of gratitude and cognitive behaviour and the sleeping, and I've been working really hard at making sure I go to bed on time.
Yeah, sleep's important.
Yeah, I think so too. So so the sleep and the gratitude thing, I make sure that I'm getting into a practice of being thinking about what I'm grateful for each evening. So yeah, that's been really good.
It's funny you mention that because I've been doing that recently as well. And I reckon just how long do you spend? I spend about 10 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
So let me just pause there for a second and feel free to hit the Q&A box. Tell us what you're hearing. I heard a really nice setup. There's nice rapport, a nice setup. Paula, anything you'd like to add as well?
Yeah, I think it started off great and very clear that it was confidential, that it's about the person. So the setup started great. And look, it's not terrible from a coaching perspective. There are some areas that we could improve in here, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, I liked the setup and that little insert about, I do it as well. It builds rapport as well. As I said, it's not bad, but it is a bit of rapport building. But from a pure coaching point of view, the coach starts to insert themselves into the conversation, starts to make it a bit more about what I do. As a coach, I do meditation, I do this. So ask the question, but then jumped in and started talking about what they do. It's not a lot, but from a pure coaching point of view, we try to hold back out of that.
I think The other one for me is that, it's what did you find in the report? Oh yeah, it was interesting. And you did actually ask a question about anything else, but I'd love to ask a question in there about what exactly did you find interesting, so that you're actually exploring it more and getting more information.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Paula. We talk about that the questions come from the coachee. So the questions that we're going to ask are built on what the coachee has actually given us. So that's a really good example of if the coachee has said it's interesting to explore a bit more. And Charmaine, you picked it up, and I like that pickup. Thank you. You've said it crosses over to mentoring rather than coaching. So when I start to talk about what I do as a coach, it's starting to make that crossover. Have a little bit more of a listen and we'll hear a bit more of that kick in. We won't do too much more because you're picking it up. Oh, hang on, jump forward.
Something like that.
Gee, that's
4
a lot,
times?
isn't it? Oh, gee, that's basics.
Yeah, so about 3 times a week.
Well, I think I probably should be doing some exercise. So,
Oh, sorry, it's jumping around. Sorry, let's just go back. It's a bit touchy, this video. Here we go.
yeah,
Oh, one more time.
you know, you try and go to bed on time.
Yeah, sleep.
Oh, every time I touch it. Hang on, one more time.
Quite as long.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
good.
5 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've also got the top 5 recommendations. So
Yeah.
optimism, humour, bedtime,
Yeah.
consistency on the weekend,
Yeah.
exercise duration, silence in the mind,
Yeah.
routine.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering what area you'd actually like to focus on. I mean, you've got silence in the mind going on. So
Yeah.
what about exercise duration? Shall we look at that one?
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, sure. If you think so. Yeah.
Okay, so what
Yeah.
would you like to achieve around your exercise then?
Gee. Well, I think I probably should be doing some exercise. So, yeah, I think I'd like to exercise on a regular basis.
Yeah, so about 3 times a week, something like that.
Gee, that's
4
a lot,
times?
isn't it? Oh, gee, that's a lot. I think probably 3 at the most. That's probably the one we are fit in. But yeah, 3 times would be regular. Yeah.
All right, sure. So what's happening now then?
Well, not much. I'm really,
Honestly, yeah.
yeah, really dead tired, isn't it? So,
Mm.
yeah, I just won't fit it in. I've got heaps to do at home. I'm juggling with kids and, you know, school drop off and the lunches in the morning and pick up and sport and all that sort of stuff. So, it's sort of hard to find time. That's, you know, I know I should be doing it, but it's really hard to find the time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what's happening. So I'm not exercising at all.
Yeah, yeah. So what options do you have then to start exercising, 3 times a week? Well, your report made some recommendations. So, and I've got a few ideas here as well if you're interested. But anything you could think about?
Well, I could. We live fairly close to the school, so I could walk. I don't know how Jim would go walking to school, but I could kind of, yeah, it should be okay. Like I could probably try walking to school in the morning. I could try it.
Yeah. Anything else?
What else can I do?
So, like, if you walked to school and then you did a walk after that, would that work? Do you think?
I could try it. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so I'll write that down. What else?
So let's just pause there as well. Like we were talking about, Paula, and feel free to jump into the Q&A box as well. It's sounding okay, like you can hear the grow model there, but there is some things that the coach is doing that we would rather the coach not do. So feel free to jump into the Q&A box if you can hear everything. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Charmaine has said straight away, you jumped in, you didn't really let her have a thinking time. So we heard the coach direct again. So some nice rapport building, but the coach directed. So why don't we talk about that then? Picked the actual topic. picked the exercise, and then said, jumped in to start to form that goal. And you can hear that the coaching session's moving quite quickly too. So as Charmaine said, not really letting the person have any thinking time. Paula, other things that you're picking up as well?
There's a little bit of leading going on.
A lot of leading. It sounds okay, doesn't it? But there's a lot of leading going on. Yeah.
So there's a lot of leading and some offering of options.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's a bit like like the coach, I think, is really trying to solve this problem, get the person moving, choose the goal, choose the exercise, move on, and doing the problem solving and fixing of this, rather than letting the coachee come up with it. And yeah, as Matt said, the whole goal wasn't the coach's choice, so the coachee's choice. So the coach is now having to push with every question, and that's a very good pickup as well. Yes, not picking up on Bridget's body language. So that's one thing I picked up as well. Thank you for offering that. And did you hear often Bridget saying, "I'll try"? Oh yeah, I can try. I can try. So we know if a person is saying try, it's not their goal. They're probably not going to do it. Yet the coach continues to push on with it. So we are hearing, tell me, what else, what other options? It sounded kind of warm, a bit more friendlier, but definitely a lot of insertion going on. And if we listened to it more, we'd hear that. And the reason why I wanted to share this with you is, and you can jump in and tell me what you think here, Paula, is this is what we hear quite a lot. So we hear kind of good coaching in the workplace with kind of rookie coaches and managers. It can be better though. It can be better. Paula, what do you think?
Yes, I think I think coaching is really hard in the workplace, particularly when it's not set up as a coaching session. So we often hear managers having coaching conversations on a regular, like just in the general work that they're doing, but it's sort of like they've taken half of it, but not the whole of it. And so you get, it sounds okay, but it's not necessarily getting where it needs to go. And it is really hard for managers because their role is, traditionally the role is I've got the answers and I'll tell people what we're going to do and we're heading down this track, to then switch to it's actually not about you, it's more about the person that you're working with and getting them to come up with the ideas and them to take ownership of it, and they may actually decide to do something the way that you don't do it, and I think that's really hard from that perspective. So it's definitely stuff we see in the workplace on a regular basis, where it's I'm using these tools, but I'm using them as I want to use them, not as they were actually meant to be used.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think the other issue we have here is speed. So you can definitely tell the coach is trying to move quite quickly and trying to move this conversation along. And the way that the coach actually does that is by going, okay, so you're going to do this. And if you listen to the full recording, which will pop on the website after our session, if you listen to the full recording, you're going to hear the coach say things like, so you will do that. And what about yoga? All right, let's add yoga to the list as well. So you're going to do this and this. Okay. And then the coach does all the summarizing, the coach does all the work. It's really speed. Like I'm going to help you fix this, and we're going to fix this, and you're going to move on. It's going to be great. So those kind of things I think really get in the way as well. And Mayuri, you've said with some staff, it's really challenging to get something from them. I usually hear, I don't know. So yeah, thank you for asking this question. Any strategies to get the answer and the goals from the staff? Well, of course, we've got heaps in our certificate for in workplace and business coaching, but what I'd really recommend here is using that pause and the silence. So letting the staff members actually have time to think, as Matt and Charmaine have actually said. We just jump in way too quickly, and that's what we're seeing in this demo as well. So really using the pause, really using the silence there.
And I also think if people haven't actually had the opportunity to answer previously, or they answered previously and got shut down by somebody else, they're probably a little gun shy to give you the answer. So the key is actually to create a space where it's okay to answer, even if the answer's not. Even if the answer might not be the right or the path that you take, but to create that space that says it's okay. because the first answer you come up with might not be the last answer. And it's sort of that growth mindset space that says it's okay to not get it right the first time, but we'll keep asking questions until we get it, till we find a path forward.
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. And that's offered here also when dealing with a third party input. Like this was a coaching demo where we're debriefing off the back of a report. He says it's easy to end up talking about the outcomes, which may not be credible to the coachees. So there's one thing to debrief a report. Fair enough, that's an exercise. But then when we're coaching around the report, which is what this exercise was around, we really have to hold the space, allow the coachee to explore the report, what was in the report, what they found from the report, the key lessons, how they can move forward. So when the coach starts to insert, we really are doing mentoring there, and kind of a debrief rather than actual coaching. And Lynn, as you said before, if the coachee is leading the conversation, it's easier for them to find the answers. So that's a really important question. It's a lovely way to finish, actually. So if the coachee is leading the conversation, it's easier for them to find answers because they've set the goal, they're thinking about the goal, they're working to find their own options with the coaches, great questions. And then they're going to be much more committed to moving forward. Now, the point of our exercise today is you know all this, we know all this because we're experienced coaches and all the people on the line, super experienced coaches. I think the point is that we want to assist the managers that we're coaching, the team members that we're coaching in the workplaces, just to stay away from these traps so that the coaching can actually be better. And as Charmaine, you said there, I think that jumping in with outcomes comes from a space of good intention. I agree with you on the coaching behalf. It's a lovely way of saying it, actually, Charmaine. It comes with good intentions. We are trying to help the coachee. They want to help the coachee by making meaningful change. I agree with you. But it takes away from the chance for the coachee to choose and learn for themselves. And Charmaine, I think on that note, that's a really great way to, a lovely way to summarize. So jumping in with the outcomes comes from a place of good intention. You want to be helpful, you want the coachee to have meaningful change, but it really takes away from their chance for the coachee to choose and learn, become committed and move forward with their own ideas. So thank you. So hopefully you got some ideas about what good coaching sounds like, how it could be tidied up, how we can actually help managers, the things to watch out for when we're coaching our managers and our team members in coaching as well. So there you go. Hopefully, oops, we don't want to listen to it again. Let's fast forward. We wanted to just show you these videos, the uncut versions, because it just makes us laugh. I mean, we're laughing at ourselves, and I think that's really important in today in our work environments as well. So hopefully it made you laugh. So there you go. We have a certificate for in workplace and business coaching coming up, where of course we discuss all of these, what makes good coaching. And we have Leader as Coach coming up. So if you've got managers who want a short, sharp introduction to coaching, we're now doing it in a new format, which is working so well. Just jump online because those courses have been selling out, which we're very pleased to let you know about as well. So thanks everyone. It's been great to have you here. Now, next week at Newsflash, we have a very, very exciting announcement for you. We have a new book coming out, and next week we're going to start telling you all about it. So jump online. I'm going to be very, very excited to announce the new book and tell you all about the new book and how you can purchase the new book as the Open Door Coaching alumni. Cheap, really cheap. So that's going to be very exciting. So thanks everyone. Thanks again, Paula, for being on the line and holding the space for our coaching conversations over the last couple of weeks as well, while I've been away delivering programs. So it's been great to have your input as well.
Thank you. I always love them.
Yeah, well, thanks everyone. It's great to see you. Thank you for coming on the line. And if you are listening to this on the podcast, please like us on the podcast, and please hit that 5-star rating. That really helps us as well. We are pushing up to being one of the top coaching podcasts. So that's very exciting as well with your help. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy your coaching. Happy Friday if you're listening to this live. We'll say goodbye for now.
Do you have the CCUs?